as we pause from our work and pause from other things to meet in this fashion. Iron sharpens iron, and the constant of one brightens another. We observe this Sabbath, the Shabbat, in accordance to the command of Yahuwah, the Torah, the ancient path. And so I want to welcome you all here and those who are joining us on the World Wide Web. So we're looking at with the issue of the union. Last 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, we started. We looked at the formation of the union. We also looked at the regulations that govern the union. We looked at how we maintain the union. And this week we want to just look at the text, the major text in the New Testament that speak to the union and breaking of the union. Right? So we have learned, we have understood that the Western culture that we were raised in, that we were exposed to, really is opposite and opposing to the culture of Yisra'el, the culture that of the scripture, the culture that was given to our forefathers. And we were brought here and we were totally de-educated and re-educated in something different. So it's our search for the ancient path, and we want to continue looking at it. For today, though, so we're looking at looking at the major texts that speak to divorce, speak to the union and breaking the union, marriage and divorce, to see what they are about, what they address. We also want to see whether these texts, if they're in line with the Torah. Alright? And that is important. This slide is not working. To see if these texts are in line with the Torah, because if they're not in line with the Torah, it means that something is wrong. True or false? Right. So we're going to look at these major texts. I also enlisted the service of artificial intelligence to hear what it say about these texts. We're going to look at that to see if they are in line, if AI is in line with these teachings. So the texts are grouped in 3 groups. So we're looking at those texts that were quote made by Yahusha. AI would have said Jesus. Then we look at those texts that were quoted by Paul, that they call in the Pauline instructions. And then we look at quotes from other epistles or other letters of the New Testament. And as I said before, we want to see if they line up with the Torah. If they don't line up with the Torah, it means that we cannot accept them. Right? If they line up, then we accept. It cannot be a matter of opinion. It has to be a matter of fact. And fact is found in the Torah. Opinion can be found in the New Testament. Alright? So let's look at those. Let's go through very quickly and then we are finished. Huh? All right, so there are four major texts in the New Testament that are related to what Yahusha would have said based on the thing here. So we're looking at Matthew 5, verse 31, 32. We're looking at Matthew 19, verse 3 to 12. Mark 10, verse 2 to 12. Luke 16, verse 18. So those are the four we look at that are address our teachings of Yahusha. That's it. So look at the first one. So the first one, so this is what artificial intelligence says. So AI says that Matthew 5, verse 31 to 32 deals with, that shows that divorce is permitted only on the grounds of sexual immorality, and says otherwise it causes adultery. That's what AI says. AI says, when I read Matthew 5, verse 31 32, it is showing us that the only ground for divorce is sexual immorality, and any other divorce that is done and remarry will have caused adultery. What do you think about that? Let's see what the text says. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement or a bill of divorcement. But, Yahusha said, I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. Let's go again. Verse 32. Whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication. So anybody puts away, any man who puts away his wife, except for fornication, he will have caused her to commit adultery if she is married to somebody else. And the man who marries to her would have also commit adultery. What do we say about that? I want you to talk to me so we can move fast. I don't want to be lecturing. Any man who puts away his wife except for fornication. So if you put him away for fornication, it's fine. But if you put her away for any other reason, when she is married again, she should commit adultery. And the man who married to her would also commit adultery. What do you think about that? Lawful? Torahful? According to the Torah? That's Torah wise. Alright. Alright, let's look at something here to see. If you look at Deuteronomy 24, verse 1 to 4, let's see if the Torah here. We'll come back to it. Look at the Torah there. When a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he had found some uncleanness in her, the uncleanness would have been fornication, or adultery. Then, so if he took a wife And after a while, he found that she would have committed adultery or fornication. Then let him write her a bill of divorcement. So this is what Yahusha would have quoted from. He said, he should give her a bill of divorcement. And give it in her hand and send her out of his house. When she is departed out of his house, she may go to be another man's wife. This is Torah now. The Torah is saying here, if a woman is put away because of adultery, then the man can put her away. Right? Put away because of uncleanness. If she is put away because of that of adultery, then she can be married to her. Another man can take her. So this is Torah. So she may go to be another man's wife, another man's. And if the latter man, if that man now hates her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house, or if that latter man, the second man, dies, which took her to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to his wife after she has been defiled. For that is abomination before Yahuwah. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin which Yahuwah thy Elohim hath given thee for an inheritance. So look at that now. So the law says that if a woman is found in adultery, then a man can put her away. And she can then be married to another man. But if that second man put her away, or if the second man dies, the first man cannot take her back. Right? So go back to the text now. So Yahusha quoting from that text a while ago, Deuteronomy, saying that it had been said that whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a bill of divorcement. This is another text. Right? You cannot put her away without a bill of divorcement. There must be evidence that she's no longer with you. Alright? So Yahweh said no. Yahshua said no. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, commit adultery. Is this in line with the Torah? It is in line with the Torah. Because the only way we see in the Torah that she can go to another man is if she was caught in adultery. So if you're caught in adultery, then and your man puts you away, then you can now be married to another man. Why? Oh so? Can you see that? The thing is, it is intercourse that caused the union. Right? It's intercourse that caused the union. If a lady goes to have intercourse with somebody else, it means that she would have what? Broken the first union and have formed another union. So if you have broken the first union, then you would now basically be united with another man already. So that man who you have gone with, then that man would not be your man. And you can go. And you can, because you have done it already, then fine, you can go. But what if you put away the woman because for any other reason? Maybe she is rude or she disrespectful or whatever it is. What if you put away for that reason? Can she marry again? Can she form a union? can she take on somebody? Or if she goes, all right, so you give her the divorcement and she left. If she goes to another man, would that be fine? Talk to me now, people. Based on the Torah. Look, so look at the text again. That whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for cause of fornication. So if you put her away for any reason except for fornication, and she goes to another man, then would have caused her to commit adultery. Why? Because she is a man. In fact, she is still married to you. So even if you put her away, even put her away, and it's not because of fornication, she is still married to you. Because she has not formed another union. Because only fornication can break the union. Or adultery, what call it? So if you put her for any reason at all apart from fornication and adultery, she remains your, even though you have put her out of your house. Even though you have sent her out, she's still your woman, she's still your wife. And because she is still your wife, then she is expected to remain that way unmarried until you die. If she goes and take from another union with somebody else, she would have committed adultery. And as long as she's with that person, both the person and she will be committing adultery. That's what it's saying here. Because she's another man's wife. But the fact that now she, so it means that when she would have now taken on another man, then the original would have been broken. And at that point now, then most likely, if you're looking at it that way, then most likely then she would have now gone with that particular man, and that man is now her union. So if that man dies, or that man puts her away again, she cannot come back to the original man because that is abomination. Huh? Pertaining to this, and also because the only way you can commit adultery, the only way a woman can commit adultery is by what? By going to another man. Yeah. So long as she has not gone to another man, then she is remaining her. Even if you put her out, she's still joined. She was joined at the initial part of the sexual intercourse with you. Alright? So you putting her out for any other reason except fornication, you would have and she gone somebody, you would have caused her to commit adultery. You are the person who have, so it's not that you have sinned, that the man sinned. It is because you have put her away and she gone elsewhere. Why she now, you follow? Because if you had never put her away, then she would not have gone to find somebody else. So it's your action would have caused what caused her. But it don't mean that you have sinned because she gonna do a thing. Because the union is formed at intercourse. And if she did not have intercourse with anybody else when you put her out, then the union still remains. And that's why they said to you that who Yahuwah has put together, let no man put asunder. And you'll see in the Torah many times where they said if a man find a virgin and have sex with her and rape her, whatever, he needs to pay the bride price and stay with her forever. Because marriages are permanent and should be forever until death. Question now. Yes or no? All right, no problem. So as we go, we want to look at the permanency of marriage or permanent marriage. The union is our unions are or should be, right? So what we are seeing here is that just say, yes, yeah, man, you are told to give a bill of divorcement, but make sure say you understand that if you give a bill of divorcement and it's not because of fornication, then if she goes elsewhere, then she will commit adultery because she's already joined to you in union. And the person, the man who she have with, would have also committed adultery because she is already in a union. Yes. Yes. Right. Well, we don't see anything in the Torah about that, saying that you have you be some penalty. I don't see anything in the Torah for that yet. So we could look forward to say the same. It's dead. We should have stoned to death. Well, life is unfair. Life is unfair, and we do a lot of things which are unfair. Well, what you could not, but well, definitely not. You could go back for her. You could go back for her because so if you put her out for any other reason apart from that, you could go back for her if she has not been united with somebody else. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Protect and care and provide. Yeah, man. As we saw last week. Mm. She goes to her father. So normally go back to she go to her father or hold on no? So normally go to her father or she go back to her family and you could and let me see if I'm correct there. Because now when we put her out, she goes with something. Right? Well, if she leaves by herself because of some treatment, then you have to give her money to go with. Enough. Right. But really, she should go back to her father. Normally, go back to her father, who would have been the next person that is her head. Remember now, the father is the head of the girl. When when a man takes her, the headship is transferred from the father to the man. And the man would have paid the price, the bride's price. If he doesn't put her out, then he must put her back under her head, which is her father. If the father is dead, then a big brother or a brother or something else. Normally, that's what happens. So she goes back to her head because she needs to have a head. Right? All right. Now, do we have any, are there any examples in the scripture where we see the woman who was put out, put out, and would have remained unmarried again? Do you know any example, any example in the scripture? So this lady Adam, there was this union. The man puts her out, and she remains. Not a widow. What do you call it now? She remains single because of the fact that she is already married. She is married, but the husband put her out, and hence she cannot marry somebody else as long as she lives. Any example? You sure? Anybody have enough any example in the scripture? There's well many examples. She was put out. Do you remember? One of Jacob's wife, who the first son had sex with his first wife, one of his wives? What happened after he had sex with Jacob's one of Jacob's wives? She had to steer herself, and he never go back. He never go into her again for the rest of his life, because the son has formed a union with her. What about David's daughter? What's her name again? Tamar. When David's son had intercourse with his daughter, and he put her out, because at the point of intercourse, the union is formed. And she suggests that she said, "You can't put me out like this, because you know what we say already. We have a union. We are to be together." He put her out. What happened to her? He did? Yes, so her brother, Absalom, took her in his house, and she remained in his house because she is married, but was put out. She and so she lived with Absalom. It. Why? It's a union. What happens if you force a young lady in sexual intercourse? What does the Torah say about that? Apart from that part there, for she cry out. You have to pay the bride's price and stay with her forever. Precisely, he put her out. He put her out. And so she is married to him. The union is there. You can't hide the fact. A union was there. And so Absalom, as we saw the story, Absalom put her in his house, and she wore the dress. When you said she put on the dress to show that she is whatever it is, and she stayed there forever. I guess after Amnon was killed by Absalom, then she could have married someone else, as we see there. What about Ishmael's wife? We talk about Ishmael's wife. Ishmael's wife that his father told him to put her out. He put her out, and she went back to her father over Egypt there. Right? No, but put out. So this put out is upon her. And, well, you're saying because they are Egyptian, then they may not go with that. Well, all right, no problem. But But the fact that once you are put out or divorced for a reason other than fornication, then the lady, you and the lady are still together. Realize that Abraham put out Hagar with the son, but if it every time and still, because they are still have a union there. Right? Yeah, man. And I know. You know what I say? But we're looking at the put out thing and to show that you are still. So even though you put her out because you really can't have a wife, and put her out because you have to protect and care and provide. And so though he put her out, as we were told, because when you divorce a woman, she can't still be in your house. You have to put her out. And so she was put out, but they are still together. They are still have a union. And so while she's out there, he still seem to have care and protect her something. Like he goes there every now and then to, look for them. So that is so this is indeed correct, because it is sexual intercourse that makes and breaks union. If the lady is too fat, get too fat, that doesn't break a union. If the lady is disruptive and whatever it is, it does break a union, really. It does not break a union. It is sexual intercourse. It is adultery or fornication that breaks a union. What is the what? Doing what stuff? So what the law says, based on what we look at, so you're asking, what is the man going on having sex with other women? You're saying, is it other married women or other? Well, if he has sex with other married women, then that is adultery, because the woman is already taken. That's adultery. But if the woman is not already taken, that's not adultery. And we saw that, right? Yes. So what now? If the man is caught in adultery, he must be stoned to death. If he make union with married person, woman, that is, the law says that. But if it's not married woman, then that's not adultery. So you can't stone him to death, because that is not adultery based on what we've been seeing over time. So if he has sex with a single woman, with a woman who's a virgin, then basically he has now formed another legal marriage union. But if the woman is already taken, then he would have formed an illegal union, which is called adultery, which is punishable by death. That sound good? That sound right? All right, great. So let us move on now. The next text, Matthew 19:3 to 12. So AI says that this text, Matthew 19:3 to that Yahusha reject easy divorce, affirming marriage as a lifelong union, and divorce allowed only for sexual immorality. So here now, I say that this text shows that the only way you can divorce is for sexual immorality, if that happens. So let's see what the text says now. So the Pharisees came also unto him, tempting him. Tempt him. So they want to know what. Let me hear what he will say. And say unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause, or for any cause? So the question is this. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause, for every cause? Does the Torah permit, they're asking, does the Torah permit a man to put away his wife for anything, any reason? That's the question they ask. And they would need, obviously you need a yes or no answer. No, sir. It's either yes or no. The Torah does not permit or the Torah does permit. Did Yahusha give a yes or no answer? Let's see. And he answered and said unto them, have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Therefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. That and what that therefore Elohim had joined together, let not man put asunder. So you know Yahusha is now quoting from Genesis. He said, remember the Torah, where the Torah says. You don't remember the story about in Genesis where in the beginning, when Adam and Eve, he put them together, and they become one. And he said a man should leave his father and mother. We see that in Genesis chapter 2, I think. And cleave to his wife. He said, have not you read that text? And he went on to say that who was put together, no man should put asunder. Him asking the question. They now responded to him based on that question. Why then did Moses command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away then? If the Torah says you are permanently bound, then why did Moses say you should do? So, but Moses, brethren, is the Torah. The Torah. So why didn't the Torah say that we should give our bill of divorcement? Is the question. The response is no. So we don't get any yes or no answer yet. It's a dialogue between. So one question: can we divorce for any reason? Response from Yahusha. Read what the Bible says about man leave his father, mother, cleave to his woman, become one flesh, and who you put together, no man put asunder. Question then why did the Torah say you can give her a bill of divorcement? Yahusha responding, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffer you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. So the Torah permits that if you are putting her away, you must give her a bill of divorcement. Why? Because of the hardness of your heart. You know, up to the scratch when it comes to this union thing. You don't understand how important it is. And how long-lasting it is. And because you're not sinful and hard and tough, then allowance was made. So it's not something good. It's because of your heart. Your hardness of your heart. Why it is allowance was made. Verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it is for fornication, and shall marry another. What is the now? Whosoever shall put away his wife, except for fornication, and shall marry another, commit adultery. And whosoever married her which is put away, also commit adultery. So based on this text, it is saying that not only the woman commit adultery, but the man also commit adultery. Because it said, if he put away his wife, except for fornication, and shall marry another woman. then the man commits adultery. It is being said here. And when the lady now married to somebody else, she commits adultery. And the man who married to her commits adultery. So everybody commits adultery. So what is this text saying to you now? Saying to us. So it is saying to us that, one, if a man divorces a woman and marries another woman, that man is committing adultery. Is that correct based on the Torah? Because this means that a man can only have one wife. Follow? It would mean a man can only have one woman, one wife. So if you put her away and take another woman, then you commit adultery. Is that in line with the Torah? That is not in line with the Torah. Because the Torah permits a man to have more than one woman. So the fact that the Torah permits that, then something wrong with this. So this that Yahusha says here, that they claim that he said, would have been against the Torah. And remember, the only way that you can commit adultery is if you go out of the union and from another union. Now, the Western culture make us believe that it has to be one man to one woman. And it can't be anything else. And if that one man takes another woman who is a virgin, then that is also adultery. And this text would have gone against that particular part of the Torah, where the man. This would mean, if you take this as truth, as fact, it means that all of the men in the scripture would have committed adultery. And all of them would have, so Abraham would have, Jacob would have, Isaac would have, all the kings would have, David would have, Solomon would have, every single man in scripture would have committed adultery and would have priests and everybody. Right? So if it's not in line, then it's something that we cannot accept. This part of it, that if he married another, then he commit adultery. So it may have been, and this could not have been Yahusha's teaching, because Yahusha, who knows the law, who is God, knew the law, so he would not have said that. He would have changed the law, the Torah, how many hundred years after. Right? But everything is correct. So whoever married her, which is put away, commit adultery, and she herself would commit adultery if she goes to somebody else. But remember, the Torah also said to you that if the man puts her away because of fornication, then she can marry to somebody else. But for any other reason apart from fornication, then she should not, the law prohibits her to marry somebody else. If she does, then she should have committed adultery. Right? So, look at that. So it's important to look at what the text says. Let's move on to the next text now. Mark 10, 2 to 12. In this text, I said that Yahusha teaches that divorce and remarry constitute adultery. Divorce and remarry. In all cases. And it seems to be the same as being said here. So look at the text. Mark 10, 10 to 12. Again, the Pharisees came to him, similar text that we read earlier. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife, tempting him? And he answered and said, what did Moses command you? They said, Moses command that Moses suffer to write a bill of divorcement and to put her away. Yahuwah said unto them, for the hardness of your heart, he wrote to you this precept. Again, because your heart hard. Because marriage is a permanent thing. Marriage ought to be a permanent union. And there should be no putting away. But several things can cause people to be put away. Look back at Ishmael issue. Look at Ishmael argument. Why did Abraham tell Ishmael to put away his wife? So what we see in Ishmael's case is gross disrespect, gross rebellion, and gross abuse of the children. So read the text. That's why you have to read the text, brethren. And remember the text, remember the stories. The story says that when Abraham went to look for his son, the woman did not greet him, not invite him in the house and treat him well. She also, if you're reading carefully, she was arguing with the children, cussing them about and talking bad things about the father. At no point should a woman who is married to a man be speaking ill about the man, particularly to the children. What will that cause? What can it cause? That can cause the children to disrespect the man, who is the head. So one, she wasn't caring. She didn't care for visitors. Two, she was disrespectful to the man in front of the children, and that is a case of rebellion. Because if you're going to disrespect your head, mean that you are rebelling against your head. And three, she was very abusive to the children. She was there beating them and dealing with them bad. That is so for those three reasons. Then you were told he was told to put away his wife. And so he gave her a bill of divorcement and put her away. Because you cannot have a union with a family which the woman is rebelling against the head. You rebel against the head. We see what happened in rebellion. Rebellion is worse than the sin of witchcraft. And so in a union, if the woman who should submit to the man, the authority, is fighting against the authority, then you cannot have a proper union going on. So here comes now the hardness of the heart. Because hardness of the heart in the sense that the woman is not following what the Torah says. And the man can't manage or bear it anymore. Because at least she can bear and manage for some time. Right? But he can't. And so the hardness of heart comes in there. So you have to get now put out. And there is a way to do it by giving her a bill of divorcement. So divorce is accepted on that level. But though she is put out, because it's not sexual intercourse that caused it, she still is bound to him and should remain until he dies. I will see some text that says that in the New Testament. So very important. So though the Torah says that this is the only sexual intercourse can break a union. It makes and breaks. That's the only one that if the lady is put out, because of that, she can remarry. For any other reason, she cannot remarry. Once she go remarry, then it's adultery. So you'd have no form of another union. And the first would have been dissolved. If the man dies. Alright? So let's move on. But look at this. But look at this part here. Look at this part. Look at verse 10. And in the house, the disciple asked him again the same matter. So the disciple asked him, what do you do? He said unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another commit adultery against her. This is not a business Torah. And if a woman shall put away her husband and marry another, she commit adultery. Is this correct? Verse 12. Is verse 12 possible at all? Why is it not possible? The woman cannot put away a man. It is he who takes, put away. And this is some of the reasons why some people don't believe and don't accept the New Testament. Because the New Testament goes against, another time it goes against the Torah. The Torah is fact. New Testament seems to be opinion. And Yahushua would not have said this. If he's so Jesus would have said it, but not Yahushua. So a woman cannot put away her husband. A woman cannot divorce her husband. The woman can leave her husband and leave the house. But cannot. And if she leaves, she should remain unmarried until the man dies or whatever it is. Otherwise, she would have committed adultery. Again, right? It's important we understand. Look at the New Testament and look at the Torah, because if it does not line up with the Torah, then it is not correct, or it may not be said by Yahusha, because it's not a flip-flop individual. Let's move on. The last text in Yahusha's teaching, or Jesus as artificial intelligence, says, Luke 16:18, anyone who divorces and remarries commits adultery. Married and divorced person is also considered adultery. Right. So let's see what he says now. Luke 16:18. Whosoever put away his wife and marries another commits adultery, and whosoever marries her that is put away from her husband commits adultery. This also is not correct. The aspects of it not correct because of based on the Torah. 1. If a man puts away his wife and marries another wife, or if he does not commit adultery, based on, unless the one it takes on is someone who is already married. In that case, it's adultery because he takes on a woman who is already taken. But if she's not taken, that's not adultery. That's 1. 2. And whoever marries her that is put away from her husband commits adultery. This may be correct in one case and incorrect in another case. Because the Torah says that if the man puts her away because of adultery, she can be married to another man. And that is not adultery. So it depends on the case, the situation, the context. This would be correct or incorrect. The Torah says if he caught her in adultery or fornication and puts her away, she can be married to another man. If it is not adultery, then she should not be married to another man. Alright? So look at the text. So those are the texts that Yahushua said the New Testament says. Alright, so those are the 2 texts, comparing them. Alright? Let's now look at the Pauline instruction now. Let's see what Paul says based on these 4 major texts. Almost finished. First one, Romans 2 verse 3. Romans 7 verse 2 and 3. Here said a married woman is bound to her husband while he lives. Remarriage while he lives is adultery. Is that correct? Based on the law. Let's read it. Romans 7. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he lives. So we are told that once you have a husband, once you are married, then you are married. You are bound to the man as long as because marriages are permanent. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband because the man is dead. Man is dead, she no longer has a husband. So she's no longer joined to the man. You can't join to a dead man. So then, if while her husband lives she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. So this is Paul's argument. So Paul is saying, as long as, if you're married to a man, then the man, you are his as long as he's alive. So was the issue with Tamar and Amnon. So as long as Amnon was alive, Tamar was bound to him. Hence the reason why Absalom took her in his house and she stays with him, because she is bound to Amnon as long as Amnon is alive. I guess I can speculate, it's not too bad, that Absalom killing Amnon would have released her from this bond, a bondage. Because some units are bondage, And so, he being dead would have released her, and then she would be able to marry. Right? So, other than adultery, if the woman is put away by the husband, she is bound to him as long as he's alive. But we saw in Deuteronomy where he said that if it is adultery, then she can be married to another man, but she can come back to the first husband once she was united with another person. Right? So this is showing the permanency of marriage. And once the woman goes out and marries someone else, then she is an adulteress. All right, let's look at the other one now. 1 Corinthians 7:10-16. Artificial intelligence says, Paul commands that married couples should not separate. If they do, they must remain unmarried or reconcile. He also addresses marriage between believers and unbelievers, allowing separation if the unbelieving spouse departs. Let's see what he said. 1 Corinthians 7. And unto the married do I command, yet not I, but Yahuwah. Now, this is what Paul says now. Paul said, I command to the married. And he said, but it's not really me say so. It's really the Torah says it. It's not me command it. I am commanding, but guess what? It's not me say it really. It is the Torah says. Let not the wife depart from her husband. Or look at the word depart. It is the wife divorce. The wife must not depart from the husband. She should not leave her husband. Because the wife cannot divorce her husband. She can't put away her husband. But she can depart. She can leave him. So let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. So a woman who leaves her husband for whatever reason, whatever the reason is, you leave your husband, you are to remain that way, or you go back to your husband. Is that Torah? Is that Torah lineup? It is. Because you leaving your husband does not mean that the marriage has broken. So if you leave your husband, you remain unmarried, you go to nobody else, or if you don't, and if you can't live alone by yourself, you go back to your husband. That's one. Paul went on. And let not the man put away his wife. So look at the two words, two term. Either leave, so the woman departs, or the man put her away. To show that a woman cannot divorce her husband because it wasn't she who took him. So let not the husband put away his wife. But to the rest I speak, and not Yahuwah. Here, passing now. So based on the law, if the woman leaves her husband, she must remain that way, single, or go back to her husband. And the man must not put away his wife. Because the law says you must keep your wife. So Paul went on now. But what I'm going to say to you now is not what Yahuwah said, not what the law says, is what me giving you now, based on the fact that me is an apostle, and me, may learned and know certain things. Not because of the law, but based on my own judgment. And again, and so because it is Paul's opinion and judgment, we don't have to accept it. But if it is from the Torah, and Paul did say to us, this is not Yahuwah says, but it's me saying it. So we don't have to hold on to it. Very important, you get that. If a brother hath a wife that believes not, you call this unequal yoke. Huh? So if you're a wife that does not believe the Torah, doesn't accept the Torah, and this is Paul's argument, not the Torah's not Torah argument. If the brother or the wife that believes not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. So if a man have a wife, the wife doesn't believe in the Torah, and she wants to stay with him and to be respectful and do all that she should do and her responsibility, then the man don't have to put her away. That's what he's saying. But the Torah says, yeah, and you can't work. The Torah did say that. So if you're a believer, mean that you are Yisra'el, and she's not Yisra'el, because you can't be Yisra'el and don't believe. You understand me? So once you don't believe, then you are not Yisra'el. Or when you burn blood, or something like, and Marshall would have said something to that end some time ago. So the fact that you are not Yisra'el, you don't believe, you don't accept, you're not Hebrew, then you really can't marry to somebody who is a Hebrew. So the law really, but Paul is saying here, give and take, give a blier. She will behave, and she loves you, and she takes care of you, and all these things, and blah blah blah. Make she stay. Don't put her away. Again, and I guess because the hardness of your heart. A good woman, a good woman, she love you. She cook good. She love the children. She respect you. Then no bother. Hopefully, after a while, she might just start believing. That's what Paul was saying. It's not a bad thing. Huh? And we saw where is a time. It's a time where he told them to divorce all of the unbelieving wives and send them back to them place. Based on the Torah. Based on the Torah. Verse 13. And a woman which have an husband that is unbelieving, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. Now, the context seems to be that you met somebody and married to them before you deal with the believing or whatever it is. So here's some people now who believe now, who accept the Torah and start to work on it, but your spouse doesn't accept it. You understand me? Nobody put them out. Because it's gone bad already. You're married already, and Paul is saying, this is you're in a gentle area, and you believe you accept. We know it's unequal yoke, but you already married and things are going good, and the person have a problem. The person will not cook on the Sabbath or do something because the person accepts you that you keep Sabbath and all these things. So just nobody put him out. Don't leave him, and don't put her out. Don't put her away. And the reason why is, why do I say this? For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, he says, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean. He said well, basically, if the man is believing, then obviously his belief is going to end up sanctify the wife. And then the children themselves also are in good standing, really good standing. Because obviously, if you are a husband and your wife unbelieve, and she does not do anything on the Sabbath, and she even come to the service with you on the Sabbath, and she not believe it, but she not believe what she come saying. But it look like she still keep the law same way. You understand me? She still accepts. So Paul said, listen that. Don't get just keep this thing going, because obviously, maybe in verse 15, but if they unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not bound, is not under bondage in such a case. So if the unbelieving gone, then and yes, because we two can't walk unless we agree, then you're not bound in such a case, Paul is saying. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save your husband? Or husband, you shall save your wife. Then he said, let's stay together, because one of these days, you might end up having the wife accepting or the husband accepting. So that's Paul's argument. Not bad, but he said, and I want to get it clear, he said it, I am saying this of myself and not of the Torah, because the Torah really does not accept an equal yoke. The Torah must have the same belief. But because heart, and we so disgusting, we try to work some things out. If we can't work out, then make them go on. And then if it ain't gone, then I start go, because a two unbelief, a two an unequal yoke, and it can't really work. The next text now is Ephesians 5, verse 22 to 23. In this text here, it said that marriage compared to the Messiah and the assembly, which emphasize love, respect, and unity. Let's look at it as we close. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto Yahuwah. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Messiah is the head of the assembly. Is this correct based on the Torah? Right. So the argument is good. Wives must submit. Do we see the Torah where the husband is to submit to his wife? It's not there, right? We see the husband is to what? Love. And what? And how do we show love? How does the husband show love? Protect. No, no, no. Give me the thing properly. Protect, care, and provide. That is love. Love is not chummy up and up, whatever. That is intimacy and whatever else. And all them something there. Love is protect, care, and provide. Wives must submit. Husband must love. So wives, Paul said to the Ephesians, submit yourself unto your own husband as unto Yahuwah. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Messiah is the head of the assembly. And he is the savior of the body, the husband. So we are seeing where marriages are compared to the union between Yahusha, and the assembly. As Yahusha is the head of the assembly, so is the husband the head of the wife. And that's why the assembly is seen as wife. Yisra'el is seen as a wife, Yahuwah's wife. So if you want to understand how the union or the marriage is to go on and to keep and to go on and be perfect, you have to understand the marriage between Yahusha and the assembly, or Yahuwah and Yisra'el. Yisra'el had to submit to Yahuwah, his commands. We see it in Exodus 19. Yahuwah said, Moses, go tell Yisra'el, say, if they do this and that, I will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. So if the woman do this and this, then I will be her head, I'll be her husband, and she will be my wife. That is the condition. Not whether you are compatible or whether you get whatever it is if you do these things, then I will do these things. This is what the marriage is about. This is that if you have more money than me, so you're the woman, you have more money, you have a bigger job than the husband still is the head. Set in stone, that's Torah. Verse 24, therefore, as the assembly is subject unto Messiah, so let the wives be subjected to their own husbands in everything. You cannot want to take on the principal's job or the boss's job. Husband, verse 25. Love your wife. So this is not a one-side thing. It's a two-side thing. Paul is addressing both wife and husband, both man and woman. Women, wives, you submit to your husband in everything. Husband, you love your wife in everything. Brethren, young people, those on YouTube listening, the only way you can have a proper marriage is if you, as wife, you submit to your husband, and as husband, you love your wife. There is no two way about it. There is no other way to have good marriage or union. It will not work. Let me repeat myself. The only way you can have proper marriage, good, perfect, looking marriage, and you're fine, and children look good, and the family goes well, is if the woman submits to the man, and the man loves his wife, the woman. There's no other way out. There's no other way forward. If you do not intend to submit to your husband, do not go into a marriage. If you do not intend to love your wife, do not take on a woman. Live by yourself. Less stress for you. Because I don't know of any man who is going to want a woman to rule him. And I don't know if any woman would want to love her husband. Because for you to love your husband, you have to protect him, care for him, and provide for him. Which woman said is going to go buy a house and care and get your husband? If you give you those things. And it can't be that you want to be in charge, but you don't provide and love, and you don't love. You can't be want to be in charge, and while you're being in charge, then the man is providing and protecting and caring. You can't bang around. And that's why many marriages are broken today and will always be broken. Because we are not doing exactly what it takes to keep marriages together. You are females, you are not called to love your husband. You are called to submit to your husband. Men, you're not called to submit to your wife. You are called to love your wife. And it's best that you do not get married if you do not expect to do what you are to do. Don't get into it. It will cause your heartache. It will cause you stress. It will cause you pain. The children will be damaged. Stay by yourself. I'm begging you. If you can't manage to do what you are called to do, based on who you are, I beg of you, please. And for this reason, you will have divorce. Other than for adultery. Because you cannot, if you are going to take on the man's responsibility, it's going to, the man is going to have a problem, and they're going to be rebellion, and they're going to be argument, and they're going to be fight and cussing and all these things, and so you will have to end up divorcing. Because as long as that continues, then somebody will kill somebody, and the family will wreck. So it's best you divorce. And this will be a divorce coming now, other than adultery. And if that comes in, a woman now needs to stay unmarried because she's still joined to her husband. So, either you go back to the husband or just stay unmarried. This is what the argument is about. So, husband, love your wife even as Messiah also loved the assembly and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present to himself a glorious assembly, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. The man has a responsibility to lead his wife into holiness, as though the Messiah lead the assembly into holiness. The man needs to understand the Torah and know what the Torah said about marriage and all these things, and about the whole Torah, in fact. And leads the woman should be teaching the man about Torah. Because it's the man who teaches and leads the family. So in the man inside, we intend to get married and don't want to learn Torah. And you're not at Bible school. And you're not reading and understanding Torah. Nobody take on a woman. Because you have a responsibility to lead her and the children into righteousness. We saw it with Abraham. Yeah, what's the boy? What? I can't hide from Abraham. Abraham is a man who leads his household. And we can't have a man where your wife is telling you what to do and how to go. And you follow the wife when it's wrong. And you won't know what is wrong if you don't know the Torah. So you go back again to you understanding the Torah. So that when she's telling you something, when Eve come and tell Adam to eat, Yahweh said, you listen to your wife. You should not, because you are the head. I commanded you. You should lead her in the right way. So when she comes to you with her argument, you should say to her, no, you are wrong. And so I cannot. You would be like Job that said, you speak like the foolish woman. Verse 29. So 28. So ought men to love their wives as their own body, because they are. He that love his wife, love himself. No man ever ate his own flesh, but nourish and cherish it, even as Yahweh the assembly. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bone. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, shall be joined unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, Paul says, but I speak concerning the Messiah and the assembly. So all the way Paul talk about is really talking about the assembly and the Messiah. But it is so in line and similar with the marriage. Nevertheless, in verse 23, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife that she reverence or she submit to her husband. So Paul used the relationship between the Messiah and Yahusha and the assembly and Yahuwah and Yisra'el to show what it should be between the man and his woman. It's a mystery. Right? It's a mystery. Last text from Paul. Colossians 3 verse 18, 19. Here I say that this text says that wives are to submit and husbands are to love and not be harsh. Let's see what it says. Colossians 3, 18 to 19. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husband, as it is fit in Yahuwah. Husband, love your wives, and be not bitter against them. The same thing. Bitter against them. Why would a man be bitter against his wife? Wife submit, man love. You can't be bitter against. You can't love and bitter. There's no way bitterness can come in with love. Alright? If you're bitter with your wife, then you don't love her. And we know that the wives are different from the husband. And then they're emotional. And so they will say certain things and do certain things. You're called to love. You're called, don't not be harsh with them. Don't let them. We might say something to a man just laugh it up and gone. A woman is different, is not that way. She takes it to bed and she sleeps and she upset and she. Don't be bitter with them. So it's best as men, best to say less. Alright? It's best to say less. I was talking to somebody some time ago. I say, you know what? Just try and say less. Because you say too much things. And too many things that can cause problem in the marriage. Just say less. And we are told, that you have to live them with understanding. You have to understand how they are. I think it was Paul who said that they are the weaker vessel or something of the sort. So it's important that we submit, the women submit, and the men love, and be not bitter against them. Alright? And the final part now is the epistle. We have about 2 texts to look at, 2, and that should be it. Our epistle Hebrews 13 verse 4, 1 Peter 3 verse 1 to 7. Here I said marriage should be honored by all, and we judge the sexually immoral and the adulterous. So Hebrews 13:4, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed is undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, Elohim will judge. Marriage is honorable. Marriage is a good thing. Marriage is a good thing. Marriage is the main union of Yahweh. That's the only way that mankind can multiply by marriage. Alright? It is something that was instituted by Yahweh in the garden. Whatever he has instituted is honorable. Do not take on or go into these things unadvisedly. Understand exactly what's about. Understand how it came about. Understand the purpose. It is not for man to be alone. I will make him an helpmeet to multiply and replenish. Understand these things, brethren, brothers and sisters, those who are watching on YouTube. Understand what marriage is about. Understand that you are becoming one. Understand that you bring offspring, and these offsprings were given to you by Yahuwah, and you have to bring them up into great, respectful citizens, persons who will in turn bring up others. And because of this reason, you have to understand how this is important. And if it's important, then you must know how to keep it together. It's important that you keep it. Marriage is honorable. The bed is undefiled. When you go into bed, it's fine. Do what you may, because it is in a marriage union. It's in a union. But once you go out of the union, you shall be destroyed. You shall be judged. Once you form union with other union persons, you will be judged. That is what the epistle is saying to us, Hebrew. Marriage is honorable, it's respectful, it's a good thing. The Western world culture had caused it to look like a bad thing. But if we do based on what is written, then it is indeed a good thing. And the final text, 1 Peter 3, verse 1 to 7. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wife. So wives are told, so if you're married to a man who don't believe in the word, you are told that you must subject yourself to him same way. So that if you don't understand the word, then you, based on your subjection and your submission to the husband, then he can be John. Although we have some men who would never at all, for one reason or the other. So while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, while the husband who is unbelieving, and he see how you behave as a woman, as a wife, he sees your submission, he sees your chasteness, he sees your fear of Yahuwah and your submission to him, then himself can come to Yahuwah. He says that your adorning is not outward adorning with plaiting of ear and wearing of gold and putting on apparel, but it is the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible. He sees your meekness. He sees your quiet spirit. You're not cussy and elaborate with your dress and all this, and you just pay attention to your dress and your attitude is less than desire. After this manner, in the old time, all the women also who trusted in Elohim, they adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their husband. So these ladies of old, they adorn themselves. They have a nice clothes, but their behavior and how they act is also properly adorned. And they are also in subjection to their husband. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, whose daughter you are. So here Peter saying that you are Abraham's children. You are Abraham's daughter, and so we expect that you will adorn yourself properly, that you will subject yourself to your husband, because this is what Abraham's girls do. This is the culture of Abraham's children, daughters. This is the culture of Yisra'el. And likewise, verse 7 as the close. You husband, dwell with your woman according to knowledge. You must understand how the women are. You must understand their emotions, understand their feelings. Giving honor unto your wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life. Because both of you together are heirs to the grace of life. So very important that your prayers be not hindered, because if you do not honor your wife, if you do not love your wife, then your prayers will be hindered. Your prayers will be hindered. All right? And so, my dear brothers and sisters, so we have seen the importance of marriage. We've seen where Yahweh says it's not good for a man to be alone. A woman was made for him. They should be together as long as they are alive. That's the ideal thing. Things might happen. Fornication on the woman's side, you can put her away. If you don't have to, though you can. Right? If she is put away, then she can be married again. For any other reason, it cannot be married again. We see what it takes to keep a marriage together. If you're not prepared to do that, then it's best to stay alone. If you're prepared to do it, then you can be married and you can live happily ever after. I thank you much.
O Father Yahuwah, thank you for your words. And now we ask of you, Father, one more thing, to allow us to apply these words in our lives. Let us do our part, which we were made to do. Each partner has their own role to play. And as this lesson taught us, if we only do what we are to do, then all will go well. Let us not try to take over our partner's role, but play our own, that you, O Father, will guide us while we do our part. Father, as we come to the end of this day's worship, we give you thanks for the way you have allowed your servant to deliver to your people the word in clear and simple terms. It was well understood. Father, let us accept your word and let us apply in our lives. And for each and every one who hear it, whether by the media or in present, let each and every hearer understand and try to apply in their lives. that this world, this highland, will be a better place. As those way, Father, will help us to live in unity. Father, as we leave this place of worship, may you be with us, guide and protect us, keep us safe, that we may arrive in your presence on another Sabbath, to hear your word continually, as we seek to find the Haitian path, and we seek to walk within. Father, keep us focused, keep us together, and keep providing for us, keeping us, Father, blessing us. We ask your blessings to your Son Yahushua Mashua. Hallelujah.
Shalom again, everyone. Thanks again to Rash for the series of presentation. I believe that is the final in the series, and I trust that we all were listening the past 4 weeks, and we all learned and understand the gravity. Don't really like that word, Yaazi, but the weight, a better word, the weight of marriage and the mammoth responsibility of all the parties involved, and how intricate and how important and pivotal it is to the society itself and to our culture. And as such, we trust that our young people were listening and that they are now better equipped, they are now informed. And so when they decide to take on a marriage, they know full well what is expected of them. Stand everyone as we dismiss. Yahuwah Barak and Shamar you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift his countenance upon you and give you